Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte. Guys, we're taking a look today at the Buffalo Sabres as we continue the season outlook series. And today, the Buffalo Sabres are our attention. So, the Buffalo Sabres, they had a rough season. Yeah, we all know. The Buffalo Sabres had a really rough 2020, 2021. It's all been rough for the Buffalo Sabres. And this is one of those teams where I'm afraid to do this video. I'm going to say this again. I've already said this twice for the other two. But specifically the Buffalo Sabres because we don't know what's going on with Jack Eichel. Will Jack Eichel be traded out of Buffalo before training camp? And does Buffalo, what if Jack Eichel just doesn't go to training camp, right? There are just so many things here that could be a problem. And he may not be able to go to training camp if he still has this injury. So that's for another video. I've already talked about that a little bit in other videos if you want to check those out. But we're looking at the Buffalo Sabres here. We're looking at their additions and their subtractions. And they're one of the teams that have had a decent amount of additions and subtractions. That's just part of it. Once you lose a lot of guys, you got to bring a lot of guys back in. So the positive thing, they bring in Owen Power with the 2021 first overall pick. Now, I also threw in Isaac Rosen, who they picked up via a trade, right? They picked him up in a trade. So they also have another draft pick in the first round there. So Owen Power and Isaac Rosen, both first round picks here in the 2021 draft. You also picked up in free agency guys like John Hayden, Vinny Hinostroza, both played with the Blackhawks recently. And those are two pretty talented players. They'll probably play in the bottom six. Hinostroza may have a chance in that top six, maybe playing alongside guys like Middlestat and Cousins. But Hinostroza, he adds a little bit of scoring that they're going to need at some point this season. And John Hayden, more of a defensive-minded player, a good two-way guy, back checker. So that's kind of what you get in John Hayden. On the back end, you bring in Robert Haig, who you acquired from the Philadelphia Flyers with the Ristolainen trade. So Ristolainen is one of the guys that is out. And they bring in Will Butcher from the New Jersey Devils. The Devils retain some of that salary. He's kind of one of those guys that we need to hit the cap floor. He looks pretty good. He was a former Hobey Baker winner, Calder finalist a couple years ago. Yeah, we'll take a waiver on that guy. That's kind of what they did here with Will Butcher. We'll see how that plays out. A little bit of a risk reward, a little bit of a reclamation project for the Sabres, but it could pay off for them because if he has a good season come the trade deadline, maybe they decide, hey, you know what? He played well alongside guys like Dahlin and Power. Maybe we're able to flip Butcher again at the deadline and actually get value for him. That could be something that happens. You also have Mark Pysyk returning to Buffalo. Very interesting move there. He's been, I believe he was most recently with the Dallas Stars, but he was with the Buffalo Sabres back in the day, and he returns to Buffalo. Why he would do that to himself, I have no idea. But Mark Pysyk is back in Buffalo. They also bring in two new goaltenders as they moved on from guys like Allmark and Hutton. They bring in Craig Anderson, who was on the verge of retirement, decided to come up to Buffalo as a mentor guy in the locker room and to help out fellow goaltender Aaron Dell, who had a really tough season. So they're hoping to get him back on track. Again, Aaron Dell, just a few years ago, was a very prized goaltender at trade deadlines in the offseason as a guy that the Sharks would move on from because they had Martin Jones. They've decided to move on from both of them at this point. So we'll see how Aaron Dell does. Again, another reclamation project like a guy like Will Butcher. We'll see how it pays off. Now, looking at some of the subtractions, and this list may get longer by the end of the offseason. I do want to preface that. But as of right now, Sam Reinhart has been traded to the Florida Panthers. He will sign a new deal with them. Will Borgen, the guy they lost in the expansion draft, not that huge of a loss, but again, some depth on the back end, and he was still fairly young. I believe it was a third or fourth round pick back in 2018 or 2019. So he was a pretty young, solid player that was pretty mature for his age. And then you also lose guys like Rasmus Ristolainen, who I think a lot of Sabres fans are actually happy because of the return they got for him, which was Isaac Rosen and a second-round pick next year as well as Robert Haig, who they acquired. So the Ristolainen trade, I think most people are like, sayonara, you didn't do well last season, and we got a large haul for you, so good riddance. They also lost guys like Linus Ullmark, who are now a member of the Boston Bruins, which has to hurt the Buffalo Sabres just a little bit. And I think they were really banking on Ullmark returning, and that's why, not to say Anderson and Dell were like plan B options, but they kind of were. And Linus Ullmark definitely hurt the Sabres in between the pipes in terms of getting someone other than Ullmark. They kind of were loyal to him, and he kind of scooted down the road to Beantown. Carter Hutton is now a member of the Arizona Coyotes. We knew when that signing was done in free agency a couple years back to backstop Ullmark, there may have been some concerns about, well, he did well in St. Louis for a year, but everything before that showed you that may not be a great move. They paid him a lot of money. They gave him a, 3 or 4 year deal? And now he's moving on to another rebuilding team in Arizona. Lucky Carter Hutton. So then we look at who led the team in points last year. It was Sam Reinhart, who is no longer a member of the Buffalo Sabres. Put up 40 points in 54 games. You also have guys like Victor Olofsson, who are returning. Rasmus Dahlin, who are returning. Casey Middlestat. Taylor Hall. Yep, he's in Boston. Rasmus Ristolainen, no longer there. Jack Eichel, you could assume, probably not going to be there. Tage Thompson, Jeff Skinner, Brandon Montour, not returning. So a lot of these guys are not here anymore that actually led the team in points last year. But there are some guys that are returning. And they're going to be the core of the Buffalo Sabres moving forward. Victor Olofsson, Rasmus Dahlin, Casey Middlestat, Tage Thompson, Dylan Cousins. Those are going to be the names that we have to put more attention toward next season. And another guy that I think not a lot of people are talking about, but he may be in store for a bit of a breakout season. I'm calling Jacob Bryson to have a breakout season with the Sabres. I think he had a good rookie campaign last year with the Sabres, and I think another year under his belt, a guy like Rasmus Asplund and Jacob Bryson, I could see them really developing this season. Also, a guy like Ristolainen, I would like to see him develop a little bit as well. I think they played pretty well in spades. Anders Bjork, he needs to have a bounce back season. Didn't have a great year. He's going to have the minutes in the top 6, hopefully. So maybe he gets that opportunity. But the Buffalo Sabres, like I said, they are tearing everything apart. And if they trade Jack Eichel, that pretty much signifies that this is the rebuild once again. And I think Sabres fans are sick of the cycle. And, I don't even want to talk about are they making the playoffs. I think most of you Sabres fans know the answer to that. And that is they won't make the playoffs. I just don't see it. You look at how competitive that, now that the Atlantic Division is back, you thought, oh, yay, they're in the Metro. Nah, they got screwed in that division too. It's not any easier now back in the Atlantic because some teams in that Atlantic have gotten better. Last time they were in the Atlantic, teams like Florida weren't as good. They've gotten better. The Ottawa Senators, they've gotten better. The Montreal Canadiens, they've gotten a lot better. I'm not even talking about the big dogs. Let's take a look at teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Boston Bruins. There's only 4 possible playoff spots, or potentially 5, hypothetically. But again, with the stacked Metropolitan Division, there may only be 3 spots in the Atlantic Division when it's all said and done. So it's one of those things. It's disappointing that the Sabres are where they are once again. They're going to miss the playoffs. I'm going to guess they get somewhere between 60 to 70 points when the season is all said and done. It's going to be another rough year in Buffalo, and I think the fans are sick of it. They just want to trade Jack Eichel at this point. I purposely didn't wear his jersey. I don't even know what I'm going to do with that Eichel jersey because it's one of those things where it's too soon, and I think Sabres fans are just fed up with everything that's gone on. And hopefully for the sake of the franchise, for management, for the fans, and for Jack Eichel, they just get this thing done. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. How many points do you have the Buffalo Sabres getting at the end of this season? Because normally I would say, do you think the Sabres make the playoffs or not? And in this situation, they just not. We just know they are not making the playoffs this year. So not even going to bother with that question. But if you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, more videos just like this one, what are you guys doing? Make sure to subscribe, give this a big thumbs up, and share. Share this video with your friends so everybody could see my golden locks. This channel has been growing a lot recently, and a lot of that is thanks to you guys. So I really do appreciate the support for the channel as we continue to work our way to 2,000 subscribers, which is just absolutely unreal. So Follow along through the rest of the summer. I'll be posting for all 32 NHL teams, regular news around the league. I'll be going over all of it this offseason. We don't have an offseason here at Goal Line Hockey. We're going all the way through, so stay tuned for more this summer. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and like I've been saying for a lot of Sabres videos, God bless the Buffalo Sabres.